War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast. This is the show where we try to catch you up on the latest Auburn news, topics, discussions, scuttlebutt, things that you need to be aware of when you're out about discussing and sharing in the Auburn experience. To us, that's all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. The easy way to say it, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing today here on episode 97 of Ever to Podcast. Today's date is April 24th, 2026. And as always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, to bring you the latest in the Auburn experience on Ever to Podcast. The usual schedule for you all today, we're going to run through all the different notes and news amongst a lot of the sports programs for Auburn, some other things as well in culture and family space. And at the end, we'll drop you in a little bit of your weekend calendar that you need to be aware of things going on, especially in sports. So buckle up. Let's jump on into it and get you informed in all of these different things, as we've been doing a lot. We've started off with the spring sports, especially the prominent ones. We'll start with baseball, as has been the case. First note of the week, SEC Freshman of the Week honor goes to Mason McCrane. If you paid attention to that last weekend series with Florida, you understand why. Had an outstanding series there, so it makes a lot of sense with why he would get this honor. Congrats to Mason McCrane, and just one of the great performances of the last weekend that got Auburn a lot of the talk of college baseball and kind of back into prominence of sorts. So great individual performance right there. Because of their performance, they're starting to get rewarded, that the baseball team is, in terms of rankings. Now, as we always try to remind you here, there's like 5 different main rankings, which is just wild. And so you have to remember that the one that you see on the TV is they're going to use the highest one. Some people may use the lowest one or the one in the middle. Auburn is a consensus top 11 team across all the rankings, no lower than 11, as high as 6, as low as 11, 6, 7, 9, 11, 11 are how they break it down. So you can just take your guess where Auburn falls in there. To me, it makes sense that they would be considered a top 10 team, just averaging that out. But obviously, we can only say consensus top 11 team across all of the rankings at this point, and obviously working their way back up to where the heights of where they were in some of these rankings across the board earlier in the season. More baseball notes for you. If you paid attention to this Tuesday game, the midweek game, Auburn versus Sanford at the Met, a little bit of preview for future for them right there. I always like when you can go and play there. But the Tigers handle business, which is always nice to see in midweek games against these regional teams. Auburn versus Sanford results in a run rule of 14-2. The Tigers are victorious and take down in-state foe who they see often every year and sometimes can give the Tigers some fits. We always talk about that. Never sleep on the midweek performances, the midweek teams, especially those regional and in-state teams. Now, Auburn baseball awards are starting to come in more and more for semifinalists now. The College Baseball Hall of Fame has put out their National Pitcher of the Year semifinalist list, and not one, but 2 Tigers have found their way on it. You probably know one, Jake Marciano, been doing it really well all year, but come on really strong for Auburn, having worked up into the starting rotation on the weekend now. Andres Alvarez. So 2 options for Auburn, semifinalists, National Pitcher of the Year award, both having great seasons thus far. As we move forward in the week and looking forward to this Oklahoma game, you have the series, I should say. You have the game times already set for that. Maybe some of these already happened by the time you've heard this, but 6 p.m. for Friday night, 6 p.m. for Saturday, so prime time for both of those. And of course, because of trying to get teams home and stuff for the weekend, SEC rules, they have to play early on Sundays. 6, 6, 2, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is your schedule for Auburn baseball this week. The softball news, it's just not that great this week. A little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the week, taking on Troy. As we talk about in baseball, you never want to sleep on the midweek teams. Auburn just really couldn't get anything going versus Troy. They lose to Troy 0-2 at Jane, or actually they'll be back at JMB more this week, but it's just not a great stretch for them right now. Y'all just hang with them. It is year 2, and you hope to see a little bit more progress throughout the second year of the season. There's still plenty of games and series to go, and a postseason as well. So just hang tough with them, and let's see what they can pull off. But obviously not something that anybody's really thrilled about, losing to Troy in the midweek. But it does happen in baseball and softball. Now we've got some basketball roster news for you. So this is really exciting. Lots of movement this week after a lot of the shifting and figuring out who was going to be retained. We thought some people were going to be retained. Sway decided he was not going to stay with Auburn after all, after Elijah Freeman also did the same thing. So good luck to them wherever they've head off to, and we know where some of them are right now. But what we're going to focus on here is some brand new additions, some that are official and others that are officially official. What I mean by officially official, Auburn's announced their signing, but they've all been acknowledged as selecting Auburn as their destination of choice. So we'll start with the two that have officially been announced as signees. Owen Freeman is your first one, coming by way of Creighton, another big man option there, 6'10". A lot of people are excited about all the height that's Auburn's bringing in, and from a name in college basketball that everyone's going to know really well. So Owen Freeman was that first one of the week that really got things going. They're a little bit out of order here from the standpoint of when they happen. We're going with the officially official ones first. Adam Olson out of South Alabama. So Auburn got a good look at him in the NIT and said, hey, we like what we see up here. 6'8", a forward, coming to play for Auburn. He obviously said played for in-state South Alabama, and supposedly is a bit of a sharpshooter as well. So that's exciting to see him. And once again, Auburn continues to poach from teams that they face and beat in the season, which is always interesting dynamic to think about. So two that are official in the sense that they have been announced and acknowledged by the team, but there's not been an official statement or post put out about their signing. So just keep that in mind for right now. Another in-state forward, Thomas Dowd of Troy. Troy got a lot of news for making the tournament, I think 2 years in a row now, but they had a great team this year. He's another 6'8" junior at forward, coming by way of Troy, and he's from Dothan, Alabama. So some more in-state talent, whether that be from the high school ranks or, obviously from high school to college and all of that kind of stuff. That's awesome to see. And then your last one is George Kimball. So a little bit of a swap here with Sway deciding to go to Vanderbilt. He comes from Vanderbilt. George Kimball III is committed to Auburn. He's a 6'2" junior who had to medically redshirt last year and played for Eastern Kentucky. He was very good in that season previous to that as well. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. This is high speculation on my part. This feels a lot like the Wendell Green story, where he comes from a team that originally is not as highly thought of, and having spent some time at the SEC, even though he had to medically redshirt, that's going to be invaluable for understanding the flow and the speed of the game and facing SEC talent. So I'm excited to have him as well as part of the new roster. Now, that is all of your roster news for men's basketball. We learned last week who all was going to be retained for women's basketball, and now is the time. We've got some new opportunities for some new players coming in for Auburn women's basketball. We'll start with Phoenix Stowe. I'm trying to try to pronounce this correctly, and I'm so sorry. Stadigen, Phoenix Stadigen, who is a guard from the Netherlands, and I believe she comes from there, but by way of Indiana. So a little bit of a name there in the college basketball space, men and women, so you can see that. Your next one, a signee for the week, comes from Zahara Bishop, who comes by way of Seton Hall, 6-foot guard from Minneapolis, Minnesota originally. So two new signees for second-year head coach Larry Vickers, after he's got a nice little core retained from the previous season. One of the bigger stories of the week comes from gymnastics, and I think a lot of us were, I don't want to say shocked, but didn't have it in our cards that this was going to be figured out this quickly. But you have a brand new head coach, just barely a week and change over when Jeff Graba announced that they would mutually part as head coach. Ryan Roberts is your new head coach. He is the former co-head coach of Georgia gymnastics. Now, obviously, that means they had two head coaches at Georgia. And, it's funny, if you go look at the way after the announcement they handled it, they gave the other one the official head coach title and said the head coach. I'm like, well, it's kind of a little bit salty there, it seems like. But Ryan Roberts comes over, switches from Georgia to Auburn in that rivalry across sports, which is going to be really interesting to see. So I'm excited. I think this is one that not a lot of people had on their maybe radar if they're not following the space as much. I know I wasn't, but it's exciting to see, and always good to see when we can poach one from one of the rivals. Congratulations to Auburn Gymnastics, and welcome to Coach Roberts for joining the Auburn family. As we move into golf, with a big week for a lot of these sports that more of you need to be paying attention to, golf and tennis and stuff like that. Yes, men's golf is currently taking part in the SEC Championship as we're speaking right now. We're starting round 3 today. More on that in a little bit. But just a note from performances this week. milestone hit, not by Jackson Coiven. I know that's what we always talk about here, but Josiah Gilbert hit 400 career birdies, and he's the 13th person in program history to hit that 400 club. Obviously, Jackson Coiven's already there, but that's really cool and a high mark for him. With all the talk about Jackson, I continue to try to press upon you all that you need to also be valuing the guys that are there making this not just a great individual, but a great team. And he is definitely one of those and been around for quite some time. So congrats to him for hitting the 400 club in birdies. Women's golf, a little bit of a nice, surprise makes it seem like they weren't capable of doing this, but that's the best word that I can come up with. They just wrapped up at the beginning of the week the SEC women's tournament. And while they were one of the better teams there, I think a lot of people were shocked with who made it to the finals. Auburn made it to the finals. Tennessee made it to the finals. So maybe others were potentially expected to be there. And so they got a shot to compete for an SEC title. They did not end up successful, obviously, you can tell by my tone and lead up to that. But 2-3, they lose in the finals versus Tennessee. But to make it all the way there just kind of underscores this isn't just a men's golf team that's good. This is a women's golf team that is very formidable against some of the best talent out there against the SEC. So congrats to them for making it to the finals. I know they wish they could have wrapped that up and were so close. But exciting things happening in a lot of these spring sports that people need to be paying attention to more often. Note for equestrian, as they have wrapped up their season, some final teams and awards are being handed out. For the all-championship team for the NCEA, you have 3 representatives from Auburn. When we were one of the best teams, couldn't get the job done, but they still had a great season. Alexia Tordoff is on the all-championship team in horsemanship and reining, and then 2 for the flat. Avery Glenn and Ariana Marnell make that all-tournament team. So congratulations to those ladies. Currently, we got some lot of notes for tennis here across both of them. Let's start with men's golf, though. The ITA rankings for them this week, that's 20. And their note from here on their social media posts, being at the 20th spot, I don't know where that 16 came from. 9 straight weeks in the ITA top 25, but 20 this week for men's tennis. Also, a little bit of exciting news for their head coach, Bobby Reynolds, who's one of the longest tenured coaches here right now, it feels like, with a lot of change over the last couple of years. He has just been named to the Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame class of 2026. He's been around here for a while and been a mainstay in Auburn tennis, helped with women's tennis when they had that transition period too. And I think very justified that he should be honored in this way. So congrats to him for being named to the Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame, Coach Bobby Reynolds. Last note for the men here, first team all SEC. They've had a pretty good season thus far, and then some individuals obviously are having, I guess you would say better years than others. But right now you've got Hamza Nazarov. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. He makes first team all SEC. My apologies if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Again, always trying to do better, but it's difficult for my Alabama Southern accent sometimes. All right, women's tennis notes, lots of them this week. Again, congratulations to them for their first SEC regular title and the first SEC tournament title. Outstanding. And because of that, they are officially the number 1 ranked team in the ITA, which I believe, based off a post earlier in this year, this is the first time that they have made that at all in program history. I didn't specifically say that in the notes on this post that I'm looking at right now, but based off that celebration of the number 2 slot earlier, I don't think they've hit it yet this season. Either way, number 1. That's incredible and well-deserved. Part of that tournament championship team, DJ Bennett was named to the all-tournament team and the MVP of it, alongside Angela Okotoye, who also has been one of the prominent members of that team as well. And in fact, she had a really key part in getting Auburn on track to take down that upstart LSU team that got a little bit interesting throughout it. So she really was key to that. And because of all of this incredible performances in tennis, SEC Coach of the Year goes to Coach Jordan Szabo. Congratulations. He's been great throughout his career over at Texas A&M previous to that, and now he's done it here, leading the Auburn Tigers to some historic things already early in this postseason. Last little thing, SEC Newcomer of the Year award goes to Ekaterina I'm sorry, Katerina. I'm just not going to pronounce your last name. I'm so sorry. I will butcher that one, but congratulations to you. I'll get better at that and figure out how I can say it better next time. One last note here. I said one last note, but one more on the all SEC performers that are being handed out. 3 of those, Katerina, obviously, Angela, as we brought up, and DJ Bennett, all make SEC second team. Now, I find that interesting for a team that is so good and so dominant as they have been. They only have 3 representatives on the second team all SEC. I know there's other great individuals out there, but you would think at least DJ Bennett would have been on the all SEC first team. So interesting choice. We'll take what you can get, though. Track and field, I've been saying they've been doing some great jobs of some social media posts recapping for you in a nutshell what's happened at some of these events. As when it's really hard sport to keep up with what's going on and what you should be excited about other than the big obvious things. Remember last week they were at Wake Forest and Tom Jones split, sending some athletes there and some athletes to this other thing. Across those 2 things, they had 10 Auburn top 10 performances, 12 personal records, 7 NCAA top 20 marks, 5 event wins, and 3 school records. So another great week for Auburn track and field. Speaking of rankings, they make it higher up in the men's rankings, really big jump for them, all the way up to number 6 in the USTF CCCA rankings. Longest acronym in the world. And a cool little note, and I think you should go check it out. They released a video of them for the first time displaying some updated team facilities and locker rooms for men's and women's track and field, and it's a big lead up to something for this weekend. You can understand why they're unveiling that this weekend, but a big upgrade for them, so go check that out. It's a really cool video. Volleyball. We've got some volleyball news, believe it or not. Some of the schedule is coming out. I feel like this is a little bit early for some of this, but you can go ahead and mark your calendars down because your SEC schedule is available now. The dates are set and everything like that, so you can go take a look at that. Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi State, and then the SEC tournament, which will be, again, a new thing that's finally happening again. Now, I will say you do get Alabama away, but Georgia home. You get LSU, Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky at home. Kentucky is a very prominent team in volleyball for at least the SEC and nationally. So keep that in mind. Go check out that calendar and set it for around some of those football weekends as well. One final note in their schedule, they announced this week that Auburn and FSU will play each other in the Showdown at the Net SEC, ACC type of challenge situation September 8th. This happens a lot. Auburn and FSU tend to play each other in volleyball a lot in preseason stuff or spring season stuff. Not a shock that they would set themselves up a match for an ACC, SEC challenge type of situation. And as we round out here our time, we've got a note for the NFL draft. Some Auburn Tigers will be finding their new homes via the draft or signees, but Keldrick Falk is officially your first Auburn Tiger since 2020 to go in the first round with the 31st pick to the Tennessee Titans as we sit here on a Friday, you guys hearing this for the first time. So congrats to Keldrick Falk. Some others are likely going to be on their way, either the draft or through signing, but we'll watch and celebrate all of those guys. But the NFL draft and the Auburn Tigers are underway. Nice little note there to get that first rounder for the first time since 2020. And then probably, I'm just going to be honest, the coolest thing of the week that was announced very quickly and then happened, the Blue Angels flew over Auburn University in a way to celebrate and kind of let people have something exciting leading up to finals week. And boy, were there so many photos and videos and stuff like that. Some great shots from across campus, from just individuals, from the official Auburn accounts and things like that. So just go take the time to see some of those. Always cool when this type of stuff happens in the loveliest village on the plains. So a very special moment this week for Auburn University, Auburn, Alabama, the Auburn family, and just all of Auburn. Hey, it's the Auburn experience, tying it all together. Thank you guys so much. Oh, what am I doing here? We got to get you ready for the weekend here. I almost was ready to go. Your calendar of events is very short this week, but important things going on. Keep in mind this Friday, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. For Friday, as you're listening to this on the day it comes out, hopefully, men's golf will continue in the SEC Championship for hopefully up to 3 days leading up to the championship as they start round 3 on Friday. Softball and baseball will be competing, obviously, throughout the weekend, both at home. Ole Miss for softball, Oklahoma for baseball. So you've got an exciting week just with that alone on the Plains, but you also have on Saturday, the 18th, the Tiger Track Classic, which is why I talked about those, how important that was for those new unveiling of the facilities for the team. So go and check out that video. Go out to Auburn this weekend and get involved with baseball, softball, and track and field. This is a rare time you get to see them there with the newly renovated facilities outside as well. And that will be kind of setting up for the SEC championships, which they are hosting this year, which is really cool. All that to be said, that is your info, your news, all the things that you need to be aware of in the Auburn experience, including your calendar events. And we appreciate you being here with us for episode 97 of Ever to Podcast. As we leave you, I remind you that you can contact us on our direct message on social media. They should be open everywhere. e2cnetwork@gmail.com is a great way to do that too. And as your final reminder on the way out, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same thing. War Eagle.